All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 36. Savachya Vachakataya Bhagavan Brahma Rupadhri Nama Rupa Kriya Dhatte Sakarma Karma Kapara Savachya Vachakataya Bhagavan Brahma Rupadhri Nama Rupa Kriya Dhatte Sakarma Karma Kapara Savachya Vachakataya Bhagavan Brahma Rupadhri Nama Rupa Kriya Dhatte Sakarma Karma Kapara Word for word translations. Saha, he, Vachya, by his forms and activities. Vachakataya, by his transcendental qualities and entourage. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Brahma, absolute. Rupadrik, by accepting visible forms. Nam, name. Roop, form. Kriya, pastimes. Dhatte, accepts. Sakarma, engaged in work. Akarmakaha, without being affected. Paraha, transcendence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He, the personality of Godhead, manifests himself in a transcendental form, being the subject of his transcendental name, quality, pastimes, entourage, and transcendental variegatedness. Although he is unaffected by all such activities, he appears to be so engaged. Purport. Whenever there is a need of material creation, the transcendental personality of Godhead accepts forms in the material world for creation, maintenance, and destruction. One should be intelligent enough to know his activities in truth and not be biased to conclude that he descends to the material world by accepting a form created by material nature. Any form accepted from the material nature has its affection for everything done in the material world. A conditioned soul who accepts a material form for undergoing a certain term of material activities is subjected to the laws of matter. But here in this verse, it is clearly stated that although the forms and activities of the Lord appear to be the same as those of a conditioned soul, they are supernatural and impossible for the conditioned soul. He, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always unaffected by such activities. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.14, the Lord says, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phales priha iti mam yobhi janati karmabhir nasa badhyate. The Lord is never affected by the activities which he apparently performs by his different incarnations and personalities, nor does he have any desire to achieve success by fruitive activities. The Lord is full by his different potencies of wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And thus he has no reason for physical exertion like the conditioned soul. Therefore, an intelligent person who can distinguish between the transcendental activities of the Lord and the activities of the conditioned souls is also not bound by the reactions of activities. The Lord, as Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, conducts the three modes of material nature. From Vishnu is born Brahma, and from Brahma is born Shiva. Sometimes Brahma is a separated part of Vishnu, and sometimes Brahma is Vishnu himself. Thus, Brahma creates the different species of life all over the universe, which means that the Lord creates the whole manifestation either by himself or through the agency of his authorized deputies. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitansha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptaganjana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So I would like to seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas so that I can speak something in the service of Srimad Bhagavatam and the service of the Lord and service of all of you. So I'll try to elaborate upon this section in general and this verse in particular. This section, as many times we might have heard the word technical. So, the technology of this material creation is being described. So, I'll try to elaborate on what this verse and this section is trying to convey, the message behind the technical section. That is what we'll try to see. So, this material world is a big puzzle. How the jiva came to this material world, how the spiritual living entity who has nothing to do with matter, is so badly enmeshed and entangled in this material world. The jiva, which has nothing to do with matter, so to speak, is completely enmeshed in matter, and in fact, to the extent that he thinks, I am matter, I am body. And everything belonging to the body is mine. Mamaham iti durdhiya. This bad intelligence has somehow dawned into the living entity. So, this is a big puzzle. How exactly did the living entity got entangled? The material, the spiritual jiva getting entangled into the material world. And Maitreya Rishi in the third canto asks this question to, like Vidura asked this question to Maitreya Rishi, that how exactly that the spiritual jiva is getting caught up by the Maya Shakti, the spiritual jiva who is innocent is being caught up by the thief of Maya Shakti in presence of the police, the super soul. The police is right there, and in front of the police, the thief has committed a big act of, thievery. So, how did this happen? Sometimes, when your Brahman thread gets entangled, it's so difficult to, unentangle, disentangle it. Or sometimes, you are wearing the bead bag on your neck, and God knows how that bead bag gets entangled into the kanthi mala. And you don't understand where exactly, and then you have to open the kanthi mala and then remove the whole kanthi mala, and then both of them get disentangled. So it's a great puzzle that how the jiva got entangled into this material world and is caught up here. So when this last year, this event was in news, that these 41 workers, they got caught up in this debris of this collapse of the tunnel in Uttarkashi, the Silkyara tunnel, which was being constructed. The tunnel collapsed and 41 workers were trapped inside this tunnel. And it took them 16 days to rescue these people. And all the resources of the government, with all the know-how of scientists, everything was put in place. And with all of these great efforts, finally after 16 days, these 41 workers were rescued. So it is very difficult if you get caught up in such a place, it's very difficult to come out. So the jiva has been caught up in this cave of material world, and it is very, very difficult to come out. You don't know where exactly to go. When you are in a deep, dark cave, you really don't know whether to turn left or right, whether you should go to east, west, north, south. There is no sense of direction, right? When the sun rises, you know this is east, right? But if there is complete darkness, how would you come to know what is east, what is west, what is north, what is south, which direction to dig? So it becomes very difficult. So it took 16 days with rat miners. Finally, they tried all the equipments and big machinery to somehow try to break through this debris and reach these people. But then they realized all of this complex, sophisticated machinery is not of any use. So they employed these rat miners to come out, to bring them out. So similarly, all of us jivas are caught up in this material world, and we are employing lot of plans and mechanizations to have a happy stay here. But all our attempts for happiness, peace have proven to be futile. And then come the rat miners, the devotees in our lives, who dig through the dense debris of ignorance and reach out to us with the message of Krishna, with the light of knowledge. And then we can come out. So for these workers, it took 16 days. But Srimad Bhagavatam can cut through this dense debris of darkness in 7 days. So therefore, it is called the Bhagavat Saptah. Shukdev Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days to Parikshit Maharaj. The story of Gokarna and Dundukari in the Bhagavat Mahatmya, where Gokarna spoke Bhagavatam for 7 days. And in 7 days, one by one, each knot of entanglement of Dundukari broke up. And then finally, he got liberated. So that is the process. But currently, this puzzle of how the jiva got caught up, on its own, we understand that we cannot solve it. The entire experience of the jiva, if we are not exposed, if we were not exposed to the knowledge of the scriptures, if we were by the devotees, we were no different from karmis. We were no different from any materialistic person, any atheist. So for a raw atheist or a raw materialist, on their own, they cannot get any clue of how to solve this puzzle, of how they came in this world, or they don't have even any inkling of, can I go out of here? Or does anything else exist beyond this material world? The all in all of entire spectrum of experiences is material world, right? So whether it is pleasure or pain, I have to be here. And even though frustrated, one can't think of any other alternative. Shri Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati, struggling, badly struggling, suffering, the threefold miseries, adidaivik, adibhautik, adhyatmik kleshas, diseases, old age, death happening all around, but then there's no clue. When someone is caught up in such a deep dark tunnel, you don't know where to dig. If sometimes you may dig in the wrong direction and get deeper into darkness. As the Bhagavatam says, Matirna Krishna Parato Swatova Mithobi Padhyeta Graha Bratanam Adanta Gobi Vishatam Tamishram Punah Charvita Charvananam. Adanta Gopir Vishatam Tamishram. One gets deeper into darkness with all of one's efforts to get out of it. To get a pleasing experience, to get a peaceful experience, all of one's efforts may end up getting one deeper into that entanglement, darkness and suffering. Because andher yathandher, because a person is being guided by and led by another blind person. So there are two people caught up in that deep tunnel, in that deep dark tunnel inside the cave. दोनों को कुछ पता नहीं है. None of them have the clue. One of them is telling, I can try. You just follow me. And he says, let us, break the mountain, from here, the cave from here, and we will come out on the other side. Little does he know that he has to cut through on the opposite direction. Right? So all of those efforts go futile. So despite suffering the pains of this material world, as one doesn't realize the need for a spiritual life. Maitreya Rishi says, Sukhaya karmani karoti loko natai sukham vanya duparamam va vindeta bhuyas tata eva dukkham Yad atra yuktam Bhagavan vadennaha. With all of one's efforts for happiness in this world, what one gets after such intense endeavor, natai sukham, no, one doesn't get happiness. Va anyad uparamam va. Or even cessation of misery doesn't happen. Vindeta bhuyas tata eva dukkham, only more suffering comes in. Yadatra yuktam Bhagavan vadena. You give me the direction by which I can break through this cave, this tunnel of material existence and come out of it. Because on its own, the jiva doesn't know which direction to dig. And the jiva gets accustomed and adapted to material suffering also. There was the time in the human history when slavery was a common practice. People from Africa, Asia, they were traded as things. Purchase this for 100 rupees. And this person will be your slave for the rest of his life, and he will never ask a question, why? Why should I be a slave? No. The slave becomes accustomed. This is how my father lived. This is how my grandfather lived. This is how my great grandfather lived. So this is how I also have to live. I am supposed to be a slave. I am supposed to just be treated as a dog. Of course, these days, it's a different dynamics. Dogs are given so much, the master becomes a servant. But the slave has no clue, and he becomes adapted, and he will find the entire spectrum of happiness in being a miserable slave. You won't question, why am I a slave? Right? It took an Abraham Lincoln or it took a Martin Luther King to abolish slavery or disparity and discrimination and racism. Of course, didn't get abolished completely. Previously they were physical slaves. Now there are psychological slaves. So previously people were kind of beaten and threatened to do things and be a slave of the master. But nowadays it is a psychological slavery happening. You are some propaganda coming through the media, coming through the news channels, coming through all the sources of our modern education, the cinema, etc. They psychologically make us slaves to act in a particular way, to make certain choices, to continue to be completely consumeristic. So yes, so we are discussing that a person who is a slave doesn't realize. He gets adapted to that lifestyle. This is it. I will live like I was born like a slave, I will live like a slave, and I will die like a slave. The jiva similarly is caught up in this world, never asking a question. I am so miserable, I am suffering here, I am crying here. Is there a possibility of getting out? On the jiva's own discrimination, intelligence, this question will not arise. It will take Mahat Kripa for the jiva to really understand there's something beyond this. So, therefore, the scriptures come for rescue. Therefore, the avatars come for rescue and the sadhus come for rescue. Knowing that these jivas are trapped in this dark tunnel of material existence, we need to do a rescue operation. And these jivas have got used to and accustomed to be slaves of material energy, to be slaves of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride. They have become accustomed to darkness, but we need to give them light. And so, the scriptures, they give the jiva a kind of a visualization that yes, there can be a place beyond this place of suffering, disease and death. Shri Krishna is saying in the Gita, na tad bhasayate suryo, na shashanko, na pavaka, yad gatva, na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. I promise you, there is a world where there is no disease and death. Once having gone there, you can live an eternally happy, peaceful life. Is it really? I don't believe. Oh yes, that world, there is no need of any sun there. There's natat bhasayate suryo na shashanko. There's no need of, okay, if there's no sun, there must be moon. तब तो दिखता है ना, sun नहीं तो moon in the night. No, there's no need of sun, there's no need of moon. Oh, I understand, you must have stored in electricity. By the bulbs and all, you would be seeing there in the spiritual world. No, there's no fire, no electricity. How is it possible to see without sun, moon, fire, electricity? You must be, just making a, false claim. Such a place can't exist. The jiva can't believe it, that there can be such a spiritual world which is beyond this place of suffering and death. So it's very difficult. Even if we ourselves, as practicing devotees, even if we have taken it because of a matter of faith, but even if we visualize a place, close your eyes, a place where there is no sun, no moon, no fire, no electricity, but still you can see. Would you believe yourself? Can you see? We can't logically understand this. It's through Shraddha, through faith. So, but a person without that Shraddha cannot understand this. It's not possible for that person to understand. In a coal mine, there were these people who were born in that village, and everyone in that village had this one occupation of being coal miners. Go deep inside the underground tunnels and just dig more and more coal and bring it out. So then one time a devotee went there and said that, why are you just living such a life of misery? If you just perform devotion to the God, you can come out of this place. There is life beyond this place of misery of this coal mine. So they said, yes, but we are okay here. You are okay now, but if you continue your life like this, just doing eating, sleeping, mating, defending, then you will go to hell. Really? Hell? Tell us about hell. How does hell look like? Well, the preacher said, the hell is deep, dark, and it's very hot. It's burning. There are fires all around. People are burning, and it's very miserable. I said, okay, sounds familiar. Deep, dark, and fires all around, hot, no air to breathe. I think we are better off here. So we don't, we are not getting any impetus by your words to go to another place. We are happy here, and even if you are saying that hell, that also sounds familiar. So then the preacher said, there are no newspapers in hell. Oh really? No newspapers? No social media? No WhatsApp? Then you tell us what to do so that we can avoid going to a place where there is no, newspaper, media, WhatsApp, all of that. So the jiva doesn't have any experience of the spiritual world, doesn't have any experience of a place beyond this misery and darkness. So it's very difficult to understand. In a salt mine, everything is salty. Whatever you touch, whatever you taste, everything will be salty. So that's the position of the jiva. And therefore, by the default position in this world is fallen. So, one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada told to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, please pray for me, I am fallen. So Prabhupada said, when did you get up? You are saying I will have fall down and all of these things. When did we rise up? So the way the jiva grows in this world physically is figurative of our growth in spiritual life also. When a child is born, he is horizontal, he or she is horizontal, right? The child doesn't uh, take birth standing, lying down. And no one judges the child, no one criticizes the child, अरे क्या लेटा हुआ है, lazy. No, it's okay. That's how it is. Eventually it will learn to sit, turn, then stand, walk, everything will happen. The default state is lying down. The default state is fallen. Hmm? But then with the help of the parents, the efforts of the parents, the child then gradually begins to rise. So therefore the scriptures are saying, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Vedanta Sutra is saying, now that you have been born, good, cute little Jiva, you have had enough of your sleeping. Now get up. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Stand up, rise on your feet. See, there is more to the world than what you can see just from being in this cradle. So the scriptures are telling that there is something beyond. And the child then starts, standing up, even walking. And then the child is even given a bicycle. That, oh, I can ride a bicycle. Yes, you can ride a bicycle also. But I'm scared because if I trip and fall, I can't understand how this cycle of two wheels can be steady. No, it is possible. You can actually have a very cruising, wonderful experience, if you just have faith. No, I can't trust. So the jiva cannot take to this understanding of Bhagavan, of the Supreme Lord who has created this material world, all that there is a spiritual world beyond this material world. All of these conceptions are not readily accessible for the jiva who has just got the experience of darkness. So therefore, the jiva who has just got experience of just lying down or standing or walking cannot think of bicycling. So therefore, there are two support wheels provided in the bicycle for children. दो support wheels रहते हैं, so that fear of falling down goes away. Then because of these support wheels, the jiva makes an attempt, the child makes an attempt. Okay, let me take baby steps. जाके बैठता हूँ seat पे, I will go and sit on that seat. Otherwise, he will not even go and sit on the seat, even if the father is holding. So then, what are these support wheels? The processes of karma and jnana, karma yoga and jnana yoga, they are the support wheels. Ultimately, the jiva is supposed to cruise through in devotional service to the Lord. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyosi me. Please understand, Arjuna, just you become a devotee, offer your respects to me, worship me, and you will come back to me, no, without any doubt. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vrajam aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami mahashucha. I will relieve you from all sinful reactions, just trust me. No, not possible. How can there be possibility of life without misery, suffering? Or how can there be a possibility of a spiritual world? No, I can't understand this. So then practice karma yoga, jnana yoga. Take these support of these two wheels. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna is saying, Yagyarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanat. That he has given the process of yagya by which people can be relieved or freed from the entanglement. And he says, Saha yagya prajashishtva puro vacha prajapati anena prasivitsyadhyam esha astu kamadhuk. That along with this process of yagya, Lord created the prajapatis, the devatas, and by worshipping the devatas, asti kamadhuk, one gets one's desired benefits in this world. So what the jiva is interested in is material enjoyment. So Krishna is saying that you have had enough attempts to enjoy on the plane of this material world. There's another dimension, the higher dimension. Look up for material enjoyment. Generally, the jiva is looking around for enjoyment. Lord is saying, you can get enjoyment, look up. So he says, oh, these devatas can give me enjoyment, which means there's a higher authority who can facilitate my pleasure and happiness. He gets some faith, some trust that there can be some higher power beyond what is visible, right? So in thus by the process of karma yoga, by the process of karma yoga, sakam karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga, the jiva gets some support, okay, to gradually get to that cruising speed. And then the process of jnana yoga is another support wheel. So we have been discussing this entire Virat Roop meditation. What is the significance of this Virat Roop meditation? The entire experience that we have is that of material world. And now it's very difficult to visualize, as we discussed, to visualize God, a spiritual world, all of that. So therefore, see God through this world. You can see God? No. Can you see this world? Yes. Yes, I will show you God through this world. So this is what the Virat Roop meditation is. You can see the mountains? Yes, bones of God. You can see the rivers? Yes, veins of God. So through this, what is visible to our eyes, because our philosophy is seeing is believing, so therefore, the insight is given that how you can believe in God by just what you see. So that kind of a support is given. Because for someone for whom seeing is believing cannot directly come to the platform of believing is seeing. Because it is by Shraddha that actually a devotee sees. It is by Bhakti by which a devotee actually sees Krishna. That Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. The devotees are able to see Krishna by Shraddha, by Bhakti, which is the salve of Bhakti and Shraddha, which is on their eyes. So therefore, these two processes are given. But then, many times the problem is that the children get stuck to the support wheels. And they will keep on riding for years together on support wheel. So sometime or other the parent have to remove the support wheel. Because then there are another side effects of these side support wheels. There are side effects of karma. There are side effects of jnana. What are the side effects? When one gets too much into the process of karma, I do this, I get that. I do that, I get that. So there is a direct correlation. I do this puja, ritual, all of these things. I do this varnashram duty, I am getting the result. So then there's no God, karma mimamsa. You just do your duty, results are automatically coming. It's just a machine. The world is a machine. You just do a certain action, you'll get the suitable reaction. And then you remove God out of the picture. The wheel which was provided, the support wheel which was provided to move towards the Lord is going in the reverse direction and taking one away from the Lord by this process of karma mimamsa. So there are many Western philosophers also, Western version of karma mimamsa. So there was this German philosopher Ludwig Feuerbach. So he says that actually there is no God. It's just an imagination. Yes, this is all creation of our own brain and intelligence. First of all, we create an imaginary person who has created this world, who has all the power. And what we are actually doing is we are creating an imaginary entity, giving it all the power. God, take the power that you have created the world. God, take the power that you are running this world. So we are giving him all the power, and then we are becoming beggars. God, give us the power. Give us my daily bread. So this is the trap of the philosophy of karma mimamsa or karma siddhanta. That actually it's just a creation. Work is worship. You just do your work. So what essentially is happening is the child is telling the father, आपको बाप किसने बनाया? मैंने बनाया है. I have made you father. You are not father. You are not father. I have made you father. Father is laughing, smiling. Yes, beta. Now, in one sense, yes, after the child came, the person became a father. But it is not that the child made the father. The father created the child. So this is this philosophy that okay, we only have created a conception, a concept of God. There's no God. It's childish. In fact, the jiva has the modern civilization has actually created many imaginary gods and given them powers, and then they are standing like beggars in front of them. What are these imaginary gods? The celebrities, the corporates. We have given them power. We have made them rich. We have made them famous, and then we are, standing in front of them. That some celebrity is passing by, and people are craving. If only if she looks at me, if only he looks at me. What if I get a touch? Usko follow कर करके आपने ही God बनाया है. Now you are begging, right? So this philosophy of karma siddhanta will deny the actual God and make someone else who has a false God as the real God, right? So this is a drawback and the trap of karma siddhanta. And then the jnana siddhanta, if one just gets into gyan, just takes help of the support wheel and forgets riding the bicycle, then what happens? Then the jnani is the impersonalists. The jnanis become impersonalists. They believe that while the karmi is, they feel that there's only matter, there's no spirit, there's no God. What exists is just matter. On the contrary, the jnanis, they say, what exists is just Brahman. There's no matter, there's no variegatedness. And this concept, this thought that there can be a spiritual world, that is completely thrown out of the window. Because you are talking about a world, another world. This world itself was so miserable, I am trying to get out of it, and then you are casting me into another world. No. So that concept itself is banned, that there can be another world, there can be variety. So therefore, throwing the baby out with the bath water, it's a concept like that. And Sri Krishna is saying that these impersonalists, they say that what is God? Avyaktam vyaktim apannam. So these people say actually the absolute truth is impersonal and just vyaktim apannam, just takes a certain form, which is mithya. That impersonal reality takes a form of Krishna, Ram, Varaha, etc., which is mithya, which has no truth. So this is how they will proclaim, but Shri Krishna is saying, manyate mam abuddhaya, they are less intelligent. So Shri Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita that how matter and spirit can coexist. This thing that if everything came from Brahman or spiritual reality, then how is it that matter exists, which is contaminated? Everything came from Brahman, from spiritual reality, then how can any contaminated thing come from the spiritual reality? This is something which the impersonalists are not able to process. So therefore, Shri Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita the solution to this puzzle. He says, Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani upadharaya. Just as the elements, they are outside and they are also within, right? So just as the Mahat Tattva is outside, but this world is also made up of the different elements. And so similarly, Lord is saying that I enter the creation, but then he also says, Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram. That I have entered, but I have not entered. I have created, but I am still aloof from this creation. So this is something which is very difficult to understand. Let us understand this with an example. You have a 500 rupee note. Now someone uses that 500 rupee note to give a charity or feed a hungry person. And someone uses that 500 rupee note to drink alcohol, right? So would you blame the government? This crime happened or this sin happened because of the government, that if 500 rupee aapne nahi banaya hota, so this person would not have taken alcohol. And would you tell the government that government is responsible for this pious activity of feeding the person? Government just created the 500 rupee note, and it is up to the jiva, the citizen, how to utilize it. So similarly, God has created this material creation, and he has given that free will to the jiva how to utilize it, either to utilize it in a spiritual way or a material way. The 500 rupee note has a signature of the RBI chairman. The RBI chairman has signed, and that sign gives it the power to actually produce, actually gives it the value. So similarly, God has created this material world with his signature. He has entered this entire creation as the Paramatma and empowered this creation to actually produce its wonderful varieties. So what the point we are discussing is that if we just stick to just karma and get entangled into that, we won't reach the destination. If we just we stick to jnana, we won't get to the destination, because these are just the support wheels. The side wheels can give a lot of side effects if we don't really focus on what is the purpose behind these processes, is to take one out of this material world. So somewhere the jiva has to begin pedaling. The support wheels are there so that you get the impetus to pedal. So what is this pedaling? This pedaling is basically developing Shraddha, developing Sukriti. And by developing little Sukriti and Shraddha, one Adau Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sangha, Tatha Bhajan Kriya, Tatha Anartha Nivrati, like this, gradually one picks up speed in spiritual life. So this process of pedaling has to start. All the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga support wheels will become redundant if one starts pedaling. And so what is of great importance is to develop this Shraddha, or which begins with Sukriti. Without that Sukriti, one cannot start that practice. So that Sukriti is the spiritual vision. The Karmi, they are saying that there is no God, it is just a creation of our own imagination. We have created a God and we have given him the power, so they can't see God. The Jnanis, they can't see that there could be a personal God who cannot be entangled by his creation. How is it possible that God created this contaminated world and not get contaminated himself? So they can't see the existence of a personal form of God, so they deny that existence. So neither the Karmi can see nor the Jnani can see. Neither Karma Yogi or the Jnana Yogi, they can't see God's personal form. It takes Sukriti or spiritual vision. So that spiritual vision, so there is this physical vision. With this physical vision, we can see the forms of this world. With the spiritual vision, we can see the form of God. We can see the form of the spiritual world. So physical vision helps us see things, and spiritual vision helps us see through things. See what is there beyond matter. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a journey from material vision, just the physical vision, to spiritual vision. In fact, Bhagavad Gita starts with blindness of even material vision. It starts with Dhritarashtra, who is actually physically blind but also spiritually blind. So it starts with Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, Samaveta, Yuvatsava, Mamaka, Pandavaschaiva, Kim Akurta Sanjaya. He's asking, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do on the battlefield? Mamaka, Pandavaschaiva. I and them. Divide the world into friends and enemies. So this is what material vision does. Creates wars, conflicts, and misery and suffering. So Bhagavad Gita is a journey from this materialistic, dualistic vision to the last verse, where it is said, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanodhara, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruva Niti Mati Mama. So it begins, Bhagavad Gita begins with I and mine vision of Dhritarashtra and ends with the Bhakta and Bhagavan vision of Sanjay. Right? Where there is Krishna, where there is Arjuna, I see only victory, auspiciousness, morality, and all prosperity. So it begins with I and mine vision, which leads to wars and destruction. And it ends with Bhakta and Bhagavan vision, which just gives all morality, prosperity, victory, and auspiciousness. So Bhagavad Gita is essentially telling us that you may have eye blindness, but that is not that bad. To blindness of material eyes is not that bad. What is really worse is the eye blindness. There are two eyes. One is EYEI and another is I. Who am I? Right? So Bhagavad Gita is actually correcting our spiritual vision, our eye blindness of who am I. So therefore, if we read the Gita, we develop that spiritual vision by which, just as when you go to an ophthalmologist, what that eye doctor does is they put up a screen in front of you and it is written AEOU, and then there's something you can read, then after that you can't read, then he puts another lens and asks you to read again, then you can read little further, then he adds another lens, then you can read more clearer and clearer and clearer till the time you can read the entire screen properly, and then he says 6x6 vision. So similarly, Arjuna, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, he developed 6x6 vision. He says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashwatam, Divyam, Adi Devam, Ajam Vivum. Now I can see Krishna. You are not an ordinary person. And this battle is not just about, taking a revenge on the Kauravas. It is not just a matter of sorting out family conflicts. It is because it is your instruction to me. So therefore karishye vachanam tava. I can now see you, and I can now see why you are telling me to fight, to establish dharma, because that is your prerogative in this world. Krishna has appeared yada yada hi dharmasya glani. Whenever dharma glani happens, then Krishna appears to actually resurrect that adharma and create dharma. So therefore, when one develops this sukriti, one can actually see, one develops that spiritual vision. And if you see these verses in the 9th chapter, where Krishna is saying 4 types of people come to me and 4 types of people don't come to me. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama maya aprita jnana asurim bhavam ashritaha. So these are the 4 types of people who don't come to Krishna. So many times people say these devotees, these spiritualists, they are sentimental people. Sentimental log hain, gaate naachte bajate hain. They are just believing something whimsically. But if you analyze these 2 verses, who can see Krishna, who see the higher authority and approach him, and who don't see that higher authority and don't approach him, you will find both seekers of pleasure and seekers of knowledge in both of them. So those who don't approach Krishna, mudha, they are gross materialists who are just into working hard and enjoying material pleasures. And naradhama, they are civilized materialists. Naradhama are those who will use some morality, some civility, some poetry and other arts to enhance the flavor of their material enjoyment. So mudhas and naradhamas are simply interested in pleasure. Whereas maya, aprita jnana and asurim bhavam ashrita, they are intellectual people. They are intellectuals. Maya, aprita jnana are the atheistic scientists or reductionist scientists, speculative philosophers, who by their intelligence try to deny God. And asurim bhavam ashrita are the mayavadis or the impersonal godmen, imposter godmen, who by their intelligence proclaim themselves to be God. So it is not that by being an intellectual you can understand God, or by being a materialist you will be away from God. Because you see, artha and artharthi are seeking pleasure and relief in this world, but they can still see Krishna. They can still approach Krishna Why? So they are people who are not pursuing truth. They are pursuing pleasure. But Jigyasus and Gyanis, they are actually pursuing truth. So you see, in both sides of the spectrum, you have people pursuing pleasure who are atheists and non-believers, and you are having people perceiving pleasure here, the Arthati and Artha, who are pursuing pleasure and they are believers. Whereas you have people who are pursuing truth, but they are non-believers, and there are people pursuing truth who are believers. So if you look at these two verses, the common thing is Namam Dushkritino. Those who don't have Dushkriti, Krishna is not saying Namam Durbuddhino. Those who don't have intelligence, no. He is saying Dushkriti. Those who don't have the Sukriti, spiritual credits or spiritual vision, they can't see me, they can't approach me. And Chaturvidha Bhajante Maam Jana Sukritino. जिनके पास सुकृति है, जिनके पास श्रद्धा है, they can see me and they will approach me. Even though they want pleasure in this world, they will approach me. So this is a differentiating factor, this sukriti, which arises in association of devotees by rendering some seva unknowingly to devotees, to Krishna. One develops this sukriti, this spiritual vision by which one can see Krishna and one can approach Krishna, and then one starts pedaling that bicycle. Once you get the sukriti, get that shraddha, you start pedaling and forget those two wheels. Gradually, as you keep pedaling and you realize that actually the support wheels are not touching at all. So then you realize actually I never needed those support wheels. The balance is coming just by pedaling. Just by the process of bhakti, one can cruise through Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sang. And therefore the scriptures say, Tapasvino Danapara Yashasvino Manasvino Mantravida Sumangala Shemam Na Vindati Vinaya Darpanam Tasmai Shubhadra Shravase Namaha. Without the element of bhakti, no process can be successful and give its result. And so therefore this Sukriti is the spiritual vision which comes by association of devotees, by Mahat Kripa, by Mahat Seva, and develops gradually this spiritual vision. And then one realizes that when one gets this spiritual vision, then one can see Krishna everywhere. The materialists, they cannot see Krishna anywhere. And a devotee, how come? Krishna is everywhere. I can see him everywhere. Hiranyakashipu is saying, I can't see your Vishnu anywhere. Prahlad is saying, I can see Vishnu everywhere. Is he in that pillar, this pillar, every pillar? This pillar, yes. So this is how absence of Sukriti made Duryodhan blind with lust, and the presence of Sukriti or Shraddha made Prahlad see with love, right? So then one can see Krishna everywhere. One doesn't just need, one comes to the temple and sees the beautiful form of Shri Radha Gopinath, but then even otherwise a devotee can see Krishna everywhere. Rasoham apsu konteya, when one drinks water, the taste is Krishna. Prabhasmi Shashi Shurya, when one sees the sun and the moon, he can remember Krishna. Punya Gandha Prithivyamcha, when he smells fragrance, he can remember Krishna. Sthavar Jangam na dekhi tar murti, sarvatra hai tara ishta deva sfurti. One sees Krishna everywhere when one develops this spiritual vision, and then one after another, by practicing the process of bhakti, we start with bhajana kriya, which means chanting the holy names. And this chanting the holy names is a compact zip file, which will one after another give us spiritual vision by which we can see more and more. Naam reveals Roop of the Lord. Roop reveals Guna. Guna reveals Leela. And one by one can see the pastimes of Sri Krishna with one's eyes in this material world, by spiritualizing one's vision. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriyat sevon mukhe hi jivvado swayam eva suratyada. One can see the Lord and his pastimes by practicing the process of sadhana bhakti, and then develop speed to go closer and closer to Krishna, and realize that Krishna is everywhere and is actually intervening in every aspect of my life. There was a person uh, who was a friend of the king. He was a poet, so he was a good friend of the king, and he was telling the king that yes, you give me a lot of favors, but I have heard that in your mm, treasury there are diamonds and precious stones. Can you, out of our friendship, show me those diamonds and precious stones? The king said, oh, what is the point about that? You are my friend. Why not? I will show you. So then he took him. There was a staircase. He climbed up the staircase. Then there was a big door. That door opened. Another door. 3 doors opened. And after another, finally the treasury, there were a lot of diamonds and rubies and emeralds. Then he realized actually he had seen these diamonds and rubies before. The gates, the doors which he had passed by, they were also made up of these diamonds, rubies, all of them were studded there. The stairs from which he had come also were studded with these diamonds, rubies, emeralds. So he realized that actually I thought I will reach there and I will see those diamonds and rubies, but now I can see these everywhere in the kingdom. So similarly, when one develops this Sukruti, comes to this, Shraddha Bhakti Rati Anukramashyati, then one can see Krishna everywhere and everything. So this is the process of bhakti, that from coal mine, we reach the gold mine, where we can see the golden avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, revealing Krishna to us everywhere, and gradually develop the spiritual vision and come out of this cave of darkness of this material world. Thank you so much. We'll stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
बोला उन्होंने आप